up, CBR fan? We back at it again. Another week.
Back
And
again with another one, y'all. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, fam?
who I see already? I see Randy already talking his shit.
Right.
Then we got Salamander. We got
What is
Chris.
Mr. Eater Booty talking about, man?
Yeah, man, that was funny what you sent me, man. What up, Didi?
What up, Tyler Diddy?
What up, Billy Boy? What up, Tyler?
Pages for these babies. There you go. Salad, what up? Chris, shout out to the sponsor in the building.
Oh yeah, let's show Chris's commercial since we didn't get to show it last week because I fucked that up. What up?
What up?
So,
shout out to the sponsor, by the way, man. Get up with the sponsor for y'all need any purchase.
And use the
Chondro Bar Room.
Let me get the banner going. Use the code so you can save yourself some ducats. Some snaps.
Zuzu's wham wham.
Using prison currency. We're gonna trade this man some Hostess cakes.
Some sausages, cheese wheels, packages.
But yeah, me and Keno both have been extremely busy. I think that we probably barely talked this week. Last week we talked a lot, but one thing that we want to talk about is the passing of Brian Barczyk, and neither one of us knew Brian, but we grew up like watching Brian Barczyk like a lot of y'all did.
For sure, Chewy getting bit in the face and all that, man.
Yeah, and his son,
and Brian importing, Brian importing shit, and dying on him. Taking chances, taking $25,000-$50,000 chances that most people would never take. And bringing us along on those experiences. Then, like Trav said, Trav personally, we never met Brian. One on one. I never spoke to him. I don't even think I spoke to him on social media. You know what I'm saying? But I watched all the videos though. I was watching. I'm OG Snake Bites. I remember when, before he rebranded. So we definitely want to extend our condolences to his family.
Randy says that Randy says that he's not actually dead. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know. I saw RIPs. That's what I saw.
I went to his page today, and he was saying that this is the end.
Yeah. So
he hasn't passed, but he's in hospice.
Yeah.
Okay. True. I've had multiple family members in hospice, and we know what hospice means. So again, through this rough time right here, we want to extend our condolences and our love and the support to his family and to his son and his wife and everybody at the Reptarium. We praying for y'all. Hats off to Brian. Maybe we can take a shot for him later or something, bro.
Yeah, I'm on a 3-day water fast, but I'll break it.
Okay, cool. But yeah, man, we just definitely wanted to get some kind words out there to Brian and his people.
Yeah, I guess there's been multiple waves of people. We don't personally know Brian. It's not like we know anybody that we talk to that's giving us updates on him. But
I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, we probably had a family members that have dealt with some form of cancer. So that shit is debilitating, and it's hard, and it's a hard thing to deal with. So yeah, man, want to get that out there.
Yeah. So we wanted to mention that because we know that there are a lot of people who grew up, watching Brian. I mean, I think I've been watching Brian Barczyk since probably like 2008, 2007.
Yeah, Pat. Yeah,
It's
man.
been
You never see somebody. You never see somebody. Want damn man. Some their life just taken from them like that. Watch somebody go down like that, but shit is out of our control. So, but I'm gonna remember the good times, man. I'm gonna remember all the funny videos and all that shit. And all
yeah.
that.
I mean, we can see the love that he's gotten over time
Mm-hmm.
recently, and I think that one thing about Brian is I've heard people say may not have the best things to say about him, but I never understood it. To this day, I never actually understood it. I never understood it because he always seemed like the nicest guy in the world to me. But you know, I think that we
Yeah, I mean,
all
I
we
never
all can
understood. I
we can
never
all
understood
say
what nobody had against him. Like
we
I
can
ain't know it,
always
so
we can always mention like how much influence he's always had on the reptile community. It's been it. I mean, he was really the biggest. I mean, he probably still is the biggest
he wasn't talking about
as
the
far
ball
as we.
python thing. He was at the forefront of bringing a lot of morphs in too. So
Yeah, and the scaleless ball pythons and all that. He really did. He really did a lot for the community as far as exposure goes. Because I know a lot of people that said that they got ball pythons. Watching Brian's
that's cool.
video. Um, so we want to whisper a prayer for Brian. We'll do a shot for Brian later. Um, but that's pretty much it. You got anything that you want to mention?
Raising Canes is garbage. Raising Canes is garbage. That's overrated, man. Um, a lot about that stuff, and I went and tried it, and it's garbage. The fries, y'all don't do nothing with the fries. Y'all don't even put no salt on them. The sauce, it looked like vomit. It looked like
Uh,
pink vomit.
I think the first time I had Raising Cane's was probably back in 2011 or something like that. And I always said this: it tastes like chicken that's deep fried and bisquick. Like
Oh,
it don't taste like well battered chicken. It doesn't to me. Um, I don't know how we start having conversations about food before the shows, but we gotta stop. Um,
yeah, it was just it was just. Remember we was talking about that the other day in Canes. It's just so disrespectful.
uh,
It's just
it's gross. I think it's gross. I think that if you are from the South and you have access to good fried chicken,
so,
you probably would turn your nose up at Cane's. But
yes.
yeah, it's nasty to me. I don't eat it. I don't eat it, because I want to. You know, yeah. But anyway, I don't got any announcements to make. I know a lot of people been hitting me up. They thought I was MIA or something. I wasn't really MIA. I was busy. Um,
Clocking that
and I,
math.
I wasn't clocking on that. I had a hunting trip this weekend, so I was really busy. Uh, and I just got my life back together about 3 hours ago. Uh, so yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, for me, I ain't got other than that, I ain't got nothing going on this week. Everybody fed up. I may have some news coming on around shortly. I'm still
Mm,
Cyclops season.
okay.
Other than that,
What? Well, you want to bring the guest in?
yeah, we could
Where's he at?
have Marshall pull up. Harvey.
What's going on, Marshall?
Good evening, fellas.
Look at
What's
he's
up,
all
Marshall?
close. He turned the lights down low.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah,
Yeah,
got the
set the
Teddy
mood in
Pendergrass
here.
playing.
What you got? You got Journey's greatest hits going. Setting the mood.
Me? No,
Yeah.
no, no, I'm not a big Journey guy.
You don't like Journey?
Nah, no, I don't really. I used to when I was in like middle school, maybe.
Yeah.
But
So what's on your playlist when you cleaning the shop?
man, I like jam bands, Fish, Widespread Panic, Grateful Dead. Uh, I like all kinds of shit. I like some hip hop, old school hip hop. Uh, I like old school country. I like some mariachi shit, like anything, man, as long as it's good.
Oh man, as long as it keep you moving, huh? All right.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Eclectic, Marcial.
you're a jam band kind of guy?
Yeah.
So you
Yep.
listen to King, was it King Lizard and the Wizard? Gizzard?
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah.
What?
I'm not
King
super
what?
familiar with them.
King Wizard and the Gizzard. What?
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. It's like an Australian
King Gizzard
progressive
and the
rock
Wizard
band.
Wizard.
Yeah. It's like a jam band, I guess.
Yeah, they're kind
Something
of
like that.
jamish. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know too much about them. I've never seen them live or anything, but I do hear. I have a lot of my friends like them.
Hey, I think that they got a couple good songs. That Magma song is pretty good. I like that song.
I never
Well-
heard this group. I'm gonna go listen now. King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard.
Yeah, King Gizzard
that's
and
what
the
it's called.
Lizard Wizard.
And the Lizard Wizard. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write this down. King Gizzard and the
When I'm
Lizard
at work,
Wizard.
I get bored listening to the same shit over and over again. So I listen to
Yeah.
some new stuff. I stumbled upon
I-
them back in like 2017, something like that. I was like, that's a weird name.
I've got like a 2-week long Spotify playlist that I just put on random and listen to it constantly. So it'll go from, Motley Crue to Willie Nelson to who knows what.
Yeah, old Willie. But yeah, so thank you. We know that you're a part of another show, so we appreciate you for coming through tonight.
Yeah, man.
But we're gonna have fun. So, Marcial, could you give some people a little bit about your background? What are you doing? You sound like you're in Burger King or some shit.
Sorry, I had to go wrangle a kid.
Sam's Club or something.
I feel that.
Bro, he just took off running with I don't know, he just chewed up a styrofoam cup.
Yeah, man.
It's styrofoam all over the living room floor. So
I just took my son with me to the grocery store, and that little dude tried to hit me, man. I almost beat his ass in the store. People was looking at me just like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do, black man? You gonna hit your son in front of everybody? Damn right. He beat me up. But yeah, Marcial, could you give the people a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into the questions.
Yeah, sure. I started off like probably most other people did, been obsessed with snakes since I was a little kid. I think I've had them pretty much my entire life, ever since I was maybe 6 or I think I maybe got my first one first grade. So whatever that is, 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that. And pretty much have had them my entire life, with the exception of the time that I was in college. Didn't have any then, but as soon as I got out of college in 98 is when I started the collection that I have now. Started off, just kind of jumped right back into it with chondros. Had never kept them prior to then. And
where'd you
over
go
the
to
course,
college at?
I went to Auburn.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The Auburn, okay.
Yeah.
Boy,
And over the course from 98 to 2000 or so, I picked up about 10 animals, babies, from a couple from Eugene Bissett, Tony Nikolai, bought one off of him, Trooper, of course, Rico, And just kind of, and then stopped, raised those babies, and I produced my first clutch of chondros. I believe it was in '01, and have produced them almost every year since then. I got 2 or 3 years where I struck out since then, but yeah, man, produced them almost every year since then, and just different numbers. I think the most I ever made in a year was somewhere around 55 or so. It was 4 clutches, and that was, I don't know, early 2000s, something like that, '03, '04. And yeah, man, they've always kind of been my favorite. The collection I've got now is not only chondros, but emeralds, Amazon tree boas, ball pythons. I've got a pair of Angolan pythons that I hope to reproduce this year. And then I've got a couple of just odds and end things, some rough scale sand boas. I got a trio of those. I've got some nice little group of Trans-Pecos rat snakes that'll be breeding them they're in hibernation right now. Hopefully this year will be the first time I get some babies from them. And picked up a pair of bull snakes from Patrick Holmes a few months ago. Always liked those, and he had some really nice ones. So just odds and ends stuff. I've fucked with all kinds of stuff over the years. Dart frogs, and hadn't really done much with lizards. But I've done tortoises before, some turtles. Just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I saw Pat's bull snakes. He showed them to me, and I saw them, and I was just like, shit, I'm gonna end up buying some of these.
Yeah, man, they're cool.
I know it's gonna happen. I was like, man, these things are strong as shit. I was like, why'd you show me this shit, Pat?
Yeah, they're real cool, man. For being the size they are, they can hiss loud, like real loud. Like when I first got them, took them out of the box, I was like, oh shit! Like they're they put on a good display. Do the rattlesnake kind of thing where they curl up and stand up on you and rattle the tail, and they're cool snakes, man. And he had some of the that pair that he had is some of the nicest ones I've ever seen. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get a couple of these while I can.
Yeah, they're nice. There's some meaty snakes too.
They are. Only problem is they eat a lot and they shit a lot. And when they shit, it stinks. But other than that, they're awesome.
So so what came first? When did you jump into the MVF? When did you get put on that?
As soon as it started, really. Before MVF was Chondro Web, which was a Greg Maxwell. Well, really before that was the King Snake Green Tree Python Forum.
I remember King Snake.
Yep. That was late '90s, early 2000s, and then really wasn't moderated very well, and there was a lot of kind of similar to the problems we have today with social media, a lot of misinformation out there, and people just posting stuff that was just wrong. Yeah. So Greg and well, I'm trying to think what came first. I want to say maybe the MVF came first, and then maybe Chondro Web came second. Hell, I can't remember. It's been so long ago, but there was a little bit of a squabble between Greg and Tom Phillips, the other guy who put on who kind of was the founder of Chondro Web, and Greg Schrader, who was the founder of the MVF. And I can't remember who kicked who out, or one kind of started because they got kicked out of the other group. So right. I try to stay out of all that stuff, though. I was in both of them.
Yeah, I know.
He was neutral. He was playing Switzerland.
Yeah, exactly. at least publicly, right?
Hey, it works for me. So once you were there, did you have chondros when you first went into the forums,
Oh yeah,
or did you?
Okay.
So did you find some good mentorship there?
man. I think the people that I credit the most for kind of mentoring me when I was first getting into it are Dave and Tracy Barker.
The Barkers.
Um, which they're not really known for chondros, but uh, they helped me a lot. They were one of the ones that, you know, kind of told me that, to got me thinking to treat them like any other python species. Because at the time, Eugene, Trooper, they were, on the forefront of reproducing these things. And they were using all kinds of just crazy incubation techniques and varying the temperatures and, putting them in these jars with sphagnum moss and gravel on the bottom and water. And, just kind of, at the time they were just trying new things, but really it was overcomplicating it. And the Barkers said, look, man, Tracy told me, like, we treat these like retic eggs, ball python eggs. They're all in the same incubator. They're all in the same egg boxes. Uh, and we hatch, close to 100% of them. So I was like, well, shit, I'm just going to try that. And first clutch came, and I think, yeah, like I was saying, '01. And they, uh, uh, they were real helpful to me. Like I said, Eugene was another big uh, mentor to me. Rico, obviously, several years. I didn't meet him right off the bat. I met him a couple years later. But with him being so close, I'm in Birmingham. He's in Chattanooga, which is, 2 hours and 15 minutes away or something like that.
Yeah, that's
We
close.
got to be, we became really close friends. And I was over at his place all the time. He'd come down to my place occasionally, and it was nice having that kind of a resource, so close, by.
Hell yeah, Rico, man, in your back pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
So once you got your feet wet in the MVF, how long did it take you keeping greed trees before you said, hey, I think I can try my hand in breeding?
Well, that
About
was
10
always the
years, right?
goal from the beginning. Um, I it was always one of those deals where, like, I say I'm not. Nobody can do this and last for any amount of time and be in it, for the money, like people say. But that
Yeah,
was
we know.
always a goal of mine. Like I always wanted it to be a. When I was younger, I had aspirations of doing it full time, and the time to do that for me was when I was younger, and that time's passed for me. I got 2 kids now. I got house, and you know, is there a world where I could survive on breeding snakes? Yes, but do I want to be in that world? Probably not. Um, but the older you get, the more responsibility you get, and it just gets harder and harder every year to to make that jump and say, okay, this is what I'm doing full time. So anyway, that's passed, but it has always been a goal of mine to make it a profitable side business or hobby. So that's kind of been, that's always been a focus for me.
Yeah,
So
I
so
understand.
so 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 breeding was something that I wanted to do. That was always the goal when I bought the first one. Is I'm gonna buy these as babies. I'm gonna raise them up, and I'm gonna start breeding them.
Yeah, it's some good side hustle money. I think there's some people that can make a lot of money on it, but I think
Yep.
that there's not a ton of people making a lot of money selling chondros, at least to the point where that is their main source of income.
Nah, very few that do exclusively chondros.
Yeah, only because chondros are fickle. They're
Oh yeah,
fickle.
yeah.
Super
Uh,
fickle, man.
they're so fickle. Like, and I had this conversation with somebody earlier. They were just like, "So you think you're ever gonna be a full time breeder?" I was like, "You understand that like people in lot with like livestock, like they take the joy of reproduction out of the animals. They artificially inseminate a lot of these animals. Like it's even going on with dogs now too. So it's just like,
Hmm.
with animals like chondros, it's like you can't really just sit there and be like, you guys are going to be on my clock to breed. So that doesn't work when you got bills that are on the clock.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's a hard concept that you have to like get out of your head. I mean, there's a lucky few, but it's not likely. The idea of just breeding chondros is still only a few people that actually are doing it. In contrast to how many people actually keep chondros.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah, much less do it for a living. I mean, like I said, like there's been very few people over the years that since I've been doing this that have been able to do it as a full-time gig. Rico being one of them. And he didn't have just chondros. He had mainly chondros. He also had emeralds and he had ball pythons back in the day too. He had kind of a little bit of everything.
And he had hundreds. He had hundreds of chondros too.
Yeah, he produced. I think the time. Excuse me. I think the year he produced the most. I went up there and he had his, I forget what software he was using, but it would assign your ID numbers and all that shit, and it was 200 plus. The one of the years there right before he got sick. So
200 babies chondros in 1 year. Damn.
Yeah, it's insane.
I don't know if anybody's going to be able to touch that. I don't know if anybody has the stock to touch that. I know people have tried, but that's a lot of chondros to feed and establish. What did he say?
That's the key thing, establish, man.
Yeah, establishing that many chondros, it sounds terrible. I don't know. I could be wrong. Like some people be like, that's terrible.
It goes.
You have to establish them. It's like,
I mean, it's you could look at it that way, or you could look at it as like sometimes when I get up in the morning and go to work, it's like, man, this is the last shit I feel like doing today. So I'd rather be establishing baby chondros. It sounds like pretty damn fun compared to some of the shit I got to do at work.
I agree with that too. I agree with that too.
It's kind of like what they say: a bad day fishing's better than a good day at work. So it's all relative.
Yeah, and once you start having babies, it changes because you really have to be on top of babies. So it's not like keeping adults or sub-adults. Like you got to check those babies every day, multiple times a day. And even when you feed them, it's just trying to get them to eat and assist feed them. It takes a long time. Like I think that one night, I started trying to establish babies at like 10 p.m. I didn't finish until like 2 something a.m. and I think only 7 of the 19 ate. So
that's how it goes.
It's how it goes.
Speaking of babies, so how was it established in your first class, Marcial?
It sucked. I think I don't remember specifically. I know I didn't get them all going. I had 100. I think I had 110% hatch rate. I had one set of twins. So I don't remember what the numbers were. I want to say I got like 23 out of 22 eggs or something, and they all hatched. The twins ended up dying pretty not immediately, but they didn't live very long. And then the rest of them, again, I don't remember. I think I probably got maybe half to 3/4 of them going, and I didn't know what I was doing back then. Hell, shit, I still don't really know what I'm doing all the time. But
do we ever
back
do
then,
with the baby chondros though? It's like you think you got a plan, and then they got their own damn plan.
Yeah. There's no, you got tricks and stuff. Now, at least I got a few more tricks in the bag than I did back then. But yeah, it was a pain, man. They were tough. they were tough. And then, but then second clutch, third clutch, I've had clutches where they all eat on the first try. Hadn't been able to figure out what differentiates the two, or why some are like that and some are easy. But it seems to be that some clutches are just easier than others to get going.
I think that's just an offspring of anything, like human kids. Speaking of human kids, Trey, you need to get cut, bro. You got 4 kids, bro. You stop having kids, Trey.
And who got a lot
Uh,
of kids?
Trey, Tyler Willis. But I don't think there's a rhyme or reason. I truly don't with chondros. I don't. So with that being said, the establishing process, what did you look to do next, and how did you keep those babies?
I kept them basically the same way that I do now in tubs. I didn't have trying to think, the first couple clutches that I didn't have a rack, so I had kind of a homemade, just like a basically a bookshelf, that like a plastic bookshelf, and all the tubs had lids on them, and I had heat tape running across the back, and plastic coat hangers that were chopped up or cut up so they would fit in the tub and kind of just lean on the wall, and water bowl, paper towel, just pretty simple, pretty much the same way I keep them now, other than I didn't have a rack at the time, baby rack. So yeah, I mean, I've changed very little. I'm one of the if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm gonna let somebody else try the new shit and figure it out, and if it works, then I'll do it. I'm gonna
I
stick with
agree with
what
you. Hey, I agree with you. For real.
I'm gonna stick with what I
I
think,
like somebody else
with what I know
experimenting too.
works.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I see people, trying different stuff all the time, and I'm just like, I don't want to be you. I don't want to be you at all. I don't want to be
No.
trying new stuff all the time. But I got a question
No,
for
it's
you.
not at the experimenting with the animals part. I don't want to be at the forefront of that shit.
No, I don't want to be a creator and innovator. I want to be a user. Um,
There you go.
so when you at that point in time, when you turned the shelf into a rack, were racks difficult to come across at that point in time?
No, no, not necessarily. I did end up getting some after the babies were born, and ended up selling a few. I was just like, um, my deal was, I'm going to spend X amount of money. I don't remember what it was, 10 grand or something. And after that, I'm not spending another penny until these things, start paying for themselves. So when I had the babies, I didn't want to go drop a grand or whatever it would have cost for a rack until I sold a few. So I, just made it work with what I had. And then after I sold them, and then it could pay for itself, then I felt like I could justify going and spending more money or investing more money in it.
Yeah, that's a big deal. The investment part of it, because getting babies and establishing babies, it can add up real quick when you're trying to establish them. They're not eating. You got to get more pinkies, trying different stuff. It can add up quick. Um, so I get that part.
It's easy to go overboard too, and go or get in over your head, or spend too much, or again, everything that I've done with reptiles, I've always tried to take the long road, the patience road. I don't think there's a snake in this room that I haven't had since it was a baby. I don't buy adults. I don't buy, like, I buy babies. Put your time in, raise them up, and just take things slow. That's the way you're going to have the most success. It might take you a little bit longer than the guy who goes out and buys, adults, and maybe you buy some adults and maybe you get lucky and you breed them on your first couple times. Remember, you buy imports and you do well with them. That's not the norm. It's not to say that it doesn't happen though. You can get lucky. I've always just kind of been, of the mindset that I'm going to do it the right way. Not that there's a right and a wrong way, but the right way in my opinion, which is
Marshall's
to,
way.
yeah, right. Take it slow.
Marshall Sweat.
That's right. Buy babies, raise them up, and go at it that way as opposed to trying to rush things.
Okay. So have you ever considered getting imports, and with the babies, once you were getting the babies in, that you raised up yourself, how did you set them up?
They were set up like, what do you mean? They were just set up in tubs, but it just wasn't a rack. It was a tub with a lid on it. Essentially the same thing as a rack. I had 3-inch heat tape that was on a thermostat. Then they were just on a shelf. So again, not much different than a rack, other than they weren't lidless tubs and they weren't,
Yeah, I was talking more about your intake process. Everybody has a different process when they're getting things in.
like when I would,
Like your
well,
quarantine, buying new
yeah,
animals.
well, I
Yeah.
did at the time. I didn't, just because nobody. It just wasn't. It just wasn't as big of a concern back then as it is now. You didn't have. I'm not going to say you didn't have Nido, but Nido wasn't.
Like y'all
At
just
the
didn't know what it was. It wasn't. Y'all
yeah,
wasn't. Didn't. It wasn't
right,
Nido.
right.
That was
And I'm
it.
not saying people didn't quarantine, but for me, I bought all babies. I bought them from people that I felt like I could trust. My biggest concern with bringing new stuff in has always been mites. Proud to say I've never had mites, never, I don't even know what a snake mite looks like, honestly. And that's because I've only bought from people that, uh, that I trust and, that I know. I say no, people that, people you can trust, have a name, that have been doing it
Yeah.
for a while.
In the community.
That's right. And, nowadays I've been kind of sketched out. I never really got hit with, I've never had a positive Nido test, even like maybe whenever that was 6, 7, 8 years ago, when you heard about people's entire collections dropping dead. I've never had a positive Nido animal. But it did kind of freak me out to where I shut it down as far as bringing new animals in. I don't think I've bought a new chondro in, I don't know, 10 years or something. I mean, it's been a long time.
Damn.
But for other stuff, ball pythons, I've bought new. Obviously I've got these Trans-Pecos rats, bull snakes, those kind of things. And I'll quarantine them for usually a minimum of 3 months, in a separate room. And that's even with buying them from trusted sources. Hell, even when I, towards once the collection got big enough, and I did start to worry about it a little bit more, I would quarantine stuff I'd get from Rico. You can just never be too careful. I just think about, if I'd have nightmares of then this room, I got whatever, I got 250 plus or minus snakes in here. I mean, like, man, if they ever got mites, I just want to throw the towel in. I mean,
Man, I can't imagine. Marshall,
it'd just be, I
250
mean,
of them.
it'd be terrible. I mean, it's just not something you want to
Really
deal with
chasing
if
your
you can help
tail
it.
in the
I
center.
had I got an import last year that had some mites on it, and I was just like, thank God it never touched the garage. It never. It was the box was open and in the room where I quarantined, and it was placed in that same room, so it never left the room. But as soon as I saw, you got to immediately treat it, and you got to treat your whole house too. You got to put that flea carpet stuff down. You got to spray everything down with mite spray. Um, so yeah, I mean, fortunately for me, like nothing spread, but it's a concern just seeing one mite. I didn't
Yeah.
know one bug could just send you into a frenzy. But when you think
Oh
about
yeah.
it, the idea that everything in your collection could, be on mite protocol, you probably take a week off of work for that shit.
Oh yeah. And then you think you got it licked, and then 3 months later you'll find one in a water bowl or something, and then it's like, oh fuck, you're back to grounds, square one again.
Yeah.
Fuck
It's
that.
just not worth it. I do like a preventative, like I'll use Prevenamite, like if animals are coming in the night before, I'll go ahead and spray a tub down with Prevenamite, and it's I'll have a couple of paper towels that I'll have pre-sprayed, so that when I'm cleaning the tub for the first few times, I've got a treated paper towel that I'll stick in there. So I do that just as a preventative. Again, with the people that I usually buy stuff from, I'm not really worried about it, but you can never be too careful.
Yeah, I use lice spray. That's what I generally use, lice spray. But I think
I've heard
that
of all different kinds, that no pest strips. Some people use and seem to, have pretty good luck with it. I've always had great luck with the Prevenamite.
yeah,
The one exception being, garter snakes are real sensitive to it, because I purchased some pair of garter snakes. I don't know, it's maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and had treated their tubs the night before, and put them in there, and within half an hour, both of them were freaking dead.
Damn.
Yeah, so they can be sensitive to it, but up for boids, pythons, I've never had any problems.
yeah. Salamander brought up a great point. Pet stores and things like that. That's one of my main reasons for why when I go to reptile shows, I just be looking. I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy anything from a reptile show, because you don't know where all those animals come from, and it just seems like a big mite fest to me. Or maybe I'm hyper paranoid, but yeah.
I'll usually, or back when I used to vend shows, vend Tinley or Daytona, I would always pre-treat my displays. So I would take Prevenamite and put it on a paper towel, because it's like a residual, right? So
Yeah.
you rub it on, like you can spray it on a paper towel, and then rub it across the air holes and the opening of the thing, and then any mite that would mite can't fly, right? So it's got to crawl into the enclosure. As soon as it touches that, they're dead. So I would do that as a preventative too, just to have a layer of protection. But honestly, I've vended plenty of shows and never had any problems with bringing anything home on my animals. Obviously, if you buy something from somebody, that's a different story. But as far as transferring from one table to the next, I never experienced anything like that.
Okay. So how did you doing the breeding thing? How did you go about outcrossing then? Everything that you bred was all captive bred together. You never thought, like, all right, damn, let me try to take a chance, maybe on some imports here and there.
No, man, I've never owned one import of anything. Everything's always been captive bred. The first animals, like I was saying earlier, from Eugene, and at the time Tony Nicolai was working with some nice super high yellow stuff. That's where the male that I got from him ended up siring my first clutch ever. And yeah, I just everything was always kind of. We didn't call them designers at the time, just because they were all just green tree pythons. This was, I think maybe they had already been split from Chondro python into Morelia, or grouped with Morelia at the time I was getting into it, but I don't think it had happened much before that. So, every snake that I purchased back then came with a lineage chart and pedigree and all that stuff. So they were all mutts from the very beginning. Except, and maybe I did have like an Aru that I purchased from Eugene, and maybe I don't know what else. Maybe a sarong. I had a couple locality stuff over the years, but that's never really been my thing either. I like some of them, but I've always, the designers have really been what does it for me.
So, with having a collection, as diverse as it is, did you have any goals in mind of what you wanted to do when you looked at all those animals? Like, as far as phenotype, like what did you want to produce, or did you just not have a plan at all?
No, I've always liked the high contrast. Calico is my favorite line ever. Tiger stripe is up there just because I like the contrast. I like high yellow, especially when it's got black, black or green or blue or speckling, kind of that pixelated look. Anything with mite phase or high black melanism, that's always what has drawn, gotten my eye more so than anything else. The blue stuff is nice too. It's just, for me, I've always thought that for the money, the calico high yellow stuff, I liked it better than the super blue and the blue, the super high blue animals.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
The high yellow stuff is what really got me first in the green trees.
Yeah.
Then I started finding out about the solid blue stuff early on, but I mean later on. But like that, when I first came in, I saw green trees with yellow on them at first. Well, at first it was green, and then I started seeing stuff with yellow, and I was like, "Damn, these are yellow." Then I started seeing animals that was like 98% yellow. I was like, "Oh shit, what is that?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's where it's at for me.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites. So I mean, at the beginning, I didn't really have I wasn't necessarily buying animals with a plan. Like I'm gonna breed this with this and try to get this. It was always just since I bought everything as babies, and back then, like there wasn't any, like. I guess it just depends who you bought them from. Towards in the later years, Rico started to give in pedigrees with pictures and all that. But for the most part, you just got like a lineage chart that had ID numbers on it and maybe like the source of the animal. But there was no like pictures of the. If you were lucky, you got pictures of the parents. There definitely wasn't like we have now, where you can get a picture of the last 4 generations of.
Then it was like that animal would come in, like it'd be like wild card, grab it, blue.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I didn't have
they hadn't really honed in on the localities yet either.
Exactly. Right. Also true. Yeah. So I never had a laid out plan of I'm going to breed this and this and try to get that, because I didn't know what my babies were going to look like when I purchased them. I bought them, and then, after they changed colors, okay, well, this one's got a lot of black and this one's got a lot of black, so I'm going to breed those two together. Or, these two high yellows would be good together, or whatever.
I got a question for you. So, I mean, you bred a lot of animals with a lot of melanism and a lot of black on them. How many of those animals retain that black over the years?
Just depends. Like, I would say it's not a big percentage. It's 20% maybe that retain it. It really just kind of depends on the line, how the black comes in. The animals that usually go from neonate colors to solid black, those are going to be when they change to all black real fast. it's usually going to fade away, in my experience, right?
Okay.
So the animal that picks up a black scale here, black scale there, and it slowly picks them up, though, that's the black that's going to stay. If the whole scale is black, that's a good indication that it's going to stay. Like Versace, he produces a lot of melanistic type animal. He produces everything. He's produced high yellow, melanistic, blue. I posted a picture of a female a week or two ago. She's one of his offspring, and she's extremely blue and has retained a lot of black. She's 8 years old. I think she'll probably keep it forever. But if I go back and pull pictures of him, he was one that went from neonate colors to almost solid black for a while. And he was really one of the first animals that I remember, aside from like Greg Maxwell's Calico stuff, that went through that super dark color shift right from the beginning. And he hasn't changed much now in the last, I don't know, he's 20 something years old. So I would say the last 10 or 15 years, he's just been a green snake. But for those first 10 years, man, he went from, all kinds of changes from neonate to solid black, and then it started fading out, and yellow would, pop in a little bit of blue. And then over the years, you look at it now, he's just basically as plain green as can be.
It's interesting you say that, because especially now, a lot of times we kind of associate black with blue. And you saying how, like, while amassing your collection, you never, went the blue route. So the black that he exhibits, what do you think the black in your collection, and the blue is coming from?
Well, so Versace is a Maruki bred to Trooper Walsh blue line. So Trooper Walsh blue line, and I'm not a pedigree nerd or anything, so I can't, I'm kind of riffing here, but I think the Trooper Walsh blue line, Trooper, a lot of Greg Maxwell stuff, or most of his founder stuff, came from Trooper. And Trooper had all kinds of animals in his, back when he used to keep. I remember going to his house and being like every tub you'd open up would be like, holy shit, man, like this thing is unbelievable. And you'd open up the next tub and it'd be just as cool, just as outrageous, but different, So the pedigree is Maruki by TW Blue, but TW Blue, I think, is where all of the other stuff comes in, because, like I said, Versace's produced everything over the years, from almost animals that are solid yellow to, solid blue.
You bought Versace from Trooper as a baby?
I did. Yeah, I bought him as a baby. Yep.
How much did you pay for him back then?
$1,500.
$1,500.
I got.
That was expensive back then, though.
It was the friend price. I think he was selling them.
Money.
I think he was selling them for like $2,500 at the time, and I got the friend deal.
You got the friend price, all right?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, not much by today's standards,
No, that's an import. You can get an import for that.
Seriously. Well, since you know that, how much would you say that a lot of the, like, you may not know the answer to this, but you could probably speak to the influence that some of those founder animals from Trooper Walsh have a lasting impression on the designer chondros that we see today?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, everything came from everything came go. You could be probably traced back to him, at least on one side. Him and or Eugene, because they shared a bunch of stuff. They worked on a bunch of stuff together, and they shared a bunch of they shared animals. So I bet there's very few of the crazy animals that we have today that don't trace back to him. There may be a few, but I'd be willing to bet 80-90% all go back.
And you
to
got a lot of
literally,
crazy animals. They got both. They got the Trooper Walsh and OS Hale mixed.
yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's interesting. That's something that I always really thought about, like those early founder guys, like how much of their blood is still really around, and like what's it capable of these days.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still out there. Certainly with
But it had to be it had to be represented right too, though. There's a lot of people. It's a lot of it can be watered down too much to the point where it's not being accurately described what it is. Or
yeah,
outcrossed correctly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, that's why you get the lineage chart, and then you can see, you can see how much of this or that, or, and when I first, kind of one of my, things that I did do when I started was I had some animals that had, call it designer lineage, and others that were just F1 Biak or Aru or Sarong or whatever, and I would breed the pedigreed animals with the wild types just to kind of outcross. And I did that for a few years, and hadn't really been hadn't been doing that lately. But for the first couple of years, that was a big kind of foundation for what I used to build off of. Was outcrossed animals.
So you did use outcross. You did outcross, but you were using F1s instead of like pure wild caught imports.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's a different way to do things too, though.
Did you want to avoid hitting the same lines over and over again?
I don't think so. I think it was just I don't really know. Like I said, I didn't have like some brilliant strategy that I was trying to execute. It was just it can't hurt to have unrelated blood,
Amen.
And that was really the basis of it. Just outcross them, and like I said, I didn't do that for a long time, and now I said earlier I hadn't brought a new snake in here in 10 years, and I'm not scared to do sib to sib, and certainly with the, me chasing the albino chondro all these years, I've done Versace to daughter, Versace to daughter. I've done that a million times.
I like that, Marcial. Marcial, you cook without a recipe. You're just doing what you feel.
That's right. That's right.
So we were gonna get on the albino topic.
Okay. I was about to go ahead.
So
I was about to get into I want to talk about Versace.
So no, go ahead and talk about Versace, and then I'll go.
So before we get into like how you bred him and how you search for the albino gene, to repeat that. First off, how did you know that? When you got him, did you know that he carried the albino gene?
No, I got lucky
during the breeding process. Yeah, okay, so yeah, how did you find that out?
So, Damon Salces was the first person that produced the albino, the first albino,
and that was from pure Marocas, right?
Pure Marocas, yep. Which he purchased from. They were F1s that he purchased from Dave and Tracy Barker.
Yep,
he bought a reverse trio, and they had produced those animals from pure Marocas they had gotten from Bushmaster. So he had the trio of Marocas. Trooper Walsh, at the time, Marocas were kind of like, they were like the holy grail locality, the ones with the perfect pinstripe. There wasn't a ton of them. They just started bringing them in, and this was probably whatever, early 2000s, late 90s to early 2000s. And so anyway, Damon got these, and Trooper got a male, which ended up being Versace's dad. So when Damon hit the albino, he was pretty open on the forums and whatnot about the rookies and the pairing that he'd done, and the origin of the animals, where he got them from. So I knew that Trooper's male was a sib to his animals. So he got a 2.1 from the Barkers, and Trooper got 0.1, or 1.0. Sorry, a male. So as soon as he hit that albino, I was like, holy shit, my animal is a possible het, because Trooper's snake is a possible het, right? It's a sib, so it's at least a 50% het.
The direct sib, yeah.
Right. And then
you get an offspring from that.
The very next year, Trooper produced an albino, Midas.
I remember Midas.
Yeah,
I remember him. He was on loan at Rico's for a while. I remember.
That's right. Yeah, so Trooper started having health problems, and he sent most of his snakes to Rico. And so Damon's albino, I think his name was Floyd, and Trooper's albino was Midas. So as soon as Midas was born or hatched, I was like, holy shit, man, now mine just went from a 25% het to a 50% het. And then, so at that point, I started holding back every offspring from Versace. And I did that for a long time.
Everything. He said, I'm holding everything back, damn it.
Every snake until they could be sexed. And then I kept every female. And then, so from his first clutch, I think I held back 4 females or maybe 5. And I didn't hit an albino. The first 3 of 4 did not prove out. They proved to be not het. And on the fourth one,
what was the first 3 breedings that you bred them to? What the females? What were they just saying?
I did a clutch. It was Versace by Greta, and Greta was an F1 Biak.
Okay.
Yep. So, she was F1 Biak. And so all those babies would have been whatever, Maruki by Trooper Walsh Blue on the dad side, and Biak on the mom side. Yeah. So, like I said, I think there was 4 females and bred him. And of course they didn't all go. I tried, they went like one at a time. So it took once they got up to breeding size, it took 4 years to get a clutch out of each one. But by the time I got a clutch out of all 4, they went like 1 year. Then the next one, I got a different one went the following year, and on the 4th year, finally, I hit 2 albinos. That was in 2013. So at that point, I've been working on it. I think the first albino was produced in 2002. So it was like 11 years in the making at that point, and that was in 2013.
Okay.
And since then, I've produced, I don't know, 6 or 7, 8 maybe. Only one has survived into sub-adulthood, and she lived to about 2 years old. And then that one ended up dying on me too. So, I don't know.
You break the internet every time you post one of them pupils, right?
Yeah. I'm waiting for, I've got a female right now that's had her prelay shed, and she's due. She's 100% het. She's produced albinos before. the deal is I've never really gotten a clutch of where I've had more than one or two at a time. And they're always the fucking runts, and they're always the ones that, hatch out with unabsorbed yolk. And I don't know if that's, negative genes that are tied to the to the albino gene, or if it's just shitty luck or what. But I hadn't given up on it because I don't feel like I've really ever had a good sample size of babies. Like, I've never had, if I like this year, let's just say this female lays 10 eggs and I do better than the 25%. Let's say I get like half albinos. If
Yeah,
all of them die, then okay, I'm probably, I'll know it's probably
some tied to the gene.
something bad.
Because
Um,
in these same clutches that you had the albinos, I'm assuming that the animals that weren't albino, they've been raising up and doing fine, right?
oh yeah, they're done great. I mean, almost every adult that I've got in here is at least 50% het.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean they generally do well. And the albino that lived to 2 years, she did well. She was a super strong feeder from the very beginning. And it was just according to my vet, it was a just freak thing that happened to her. She had like some kind of we don't know if it was a piece of a bone or a claw or something had gotten lodged in the in
That's
her
some bullshit.
intestinal tract, and
Ah,
was just like a little, like a little hook sticking out, and hair and stuff would pass by and just eventually, started getting hung up on it. And I noticed, I had her out one day and noticed that she, had like a weird bulge. And we tried, a couple different ways to try to get it to pass, and nothing worked. Ended up doing surgery on her, and she the surgery messed her up, and she, like, died the next day from complications, just never coming
damn,
out of the anesthesia right, or who knows. So
damn. Okay, so the male offspring that you produce, have you
mhm.
noticed any fertility issues with those?
I haven't, but honestly, I think every chondro clutch I've produced in the last 5 or 6 years has been sired by Versace. So I haven't really tried them because,
Okay,
uh,
because you got
you
Versace
know,
working, and plus, I know what you were saying. Versace towards the end, so you probably trying to get whatever left you
yeah,
got left.
exactly. I mean, he doesn't have many. I keep thinking he's gonna. He keeps going off feed, and I'm like, okay, this is it. And last year he got a respiratory infection, and had to give him a round of shots to clear that up. And man, he cleared it up, and he started feeding again. And then I uh, started cooling things. Bred him throughout the fall last year,
Hmm.
and he went off feed. He was getting skinny again. And I was like, okay, this is going to be it. And I'll be damned, like literally last night, I was in here feeding shit. I was like, let me try to see if he'll eat. And he ate. So now I think he's back on again. So who knows, man? Who knows how long he'll go? But yeah, I'm trying to milk that as much as I can while he's still, you know, while he's still able to do it. And
You got
it's
any
pretty.
any of his young males around there? Any like kids from him? Some
Yeah,
sons you think
yeah. I got a
that
few.
may carry it?
I do. I got a few. I just, like I said, he's 100%. He's 100% het. They're
Yeah.
only 50%. So I've just been trying to use him as much as possible. But the day that he does die, I do have some. I've got a couple backups that I can use. But you're kind of back to square one again on the albino thing, because you don't know if they're not confirmed hets. They're only toss
Yeah.
hets.
You know you're gonna get it right. You're gonna get it when the Conjo guys they want you to be all great. You
That's
still, you
right.
still, you still got the nice color and all that, and they like you got a nice bed up top. They want you to be all gravy, all gravy before you hit it. That's what it is.
Well, it might be the case, man. You know, like I said,
You're gonna be looking like Trooper.
yeah.
So with that being said, with the albino project, um, what do you think it can actually turn it around at this point in time?
Man, I got to produce some, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if I could produce a few, and raise them up, if I get like if I were to get lucky enough to hit an albino male, okay, I've got probably 10 poshet females that I could put him to, and then your odds go up from 25% to 50% breeding
Yeah.
a visual to a het. So what I really need is to hit a visual male. And once that happens, then I feel like I got a pretty good shot of, advancing the project to where, you know, I could get them out there to people and it could be a thing, but who knows? Who knows if that'll ever happen?
What exactly do you mean when you say by visual
Well, Versace's only a het, right? So
male? Yeah.
he's het albino.
He want a
Um,
summer though, like that female that died on him.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if I get a visual male, like meaning an albino male,
Yeah.
then when I breed him to a het female, instead of getting only 25% albinos, you get 50% albinos. So statistically, your numbers just go up when you're using a visual male. And worst case, you breed a visual male to a het female, you'll get half albinos and the other half are 100% hets.
So
So
you
at
never
that
thought
point,
about you never. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marshall.
no, go ahead.
No, every couple years we get like a an albino picture that surfaces from Germany or somewhere in Europe, and I'm just thinking like,
Albino what?
uh, we get albino pictures that surface from Europe,
Oh,
albino
pigeons. Okay.
chondros. No
Okay.
pictures, chondros. It's like,
Oh, pictures. I got you.
yeah,
Yes.
pictures.
Yes. Yes.
And it seemed like with your females that you have, man, you'd be the first person to go ahead and import one of the mail from somebody, man, and drop that mail
Man,
right
but
into the
I
chat
ain't
over
doing
there.
it. I'm not doing it, man. My
No,
my luck, I've never, never, 0 times have I bought an adult chondro and it worked out. Never works
yeah.
out
So you
for me.
I
haven't.
don't disagree with that because me and Travis talk about that. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah, we got like so me and Keno, we have our own personal theory. Like with the females,
Especially.
you, you don't really want to bring females that are adults already. Maybe
Yeah.
sub-adults, but no
Yeah.
adult females.
It never
No,
works out, man. I
it's
mean,
not
for
gonna
me,
work
it's
well.
never worked out. I'm batting 0.
I think adult males can work out, but I think that if it's an adult female, you better leave her where she is.
Yeah.
I just think that I only say that because I think, uh, well, for you, it will only have to be the albino, obviously. But I mean, the years that you put in, well, you got so many females that say at the minimum are 25% heads. Man, me personally, I just would my own greed. I would like to see that. I would like to see that keep going.
Oh, green.
I would, man. I would like to see him keep trying to keep taking more swings at it. I ain't gonna
Well,
lie.
I'm gonna. So, uh, I don't know. We'll see, man. I try not to think about it too much. If it happens, it'll happen. If it doesn't, the good thing about that bloodline is that it still produces
Yeah,
great looking snakes,
it
regardless if
does.
they're albino or not.
So besides the albino line, what else are you trying to produce?
pretty much everything, right? Well, that's not true. I've got I would say probably 75% of my chondros are in the albino project, and then I've got one. It's basically one
He talking about
clutch.
everything. Then 75%.
75% of the individuals. How about that? 75% of the individuals that I have are related to the albino project, and then I've got one. I'm sorry, 1.4 that are calico. Calico by Tiger Stripe.
Tiger Stripe. Nice.
And they have no Versace blood, no albino blood in them. And I've got one female that had prelay shed a couple days ago from that, we call it that project. That's, it's kind of how I set up my pairings and group them. I'm going to breed this one male calico to those 4 females, and then I'm going to keep the Versace stuff separate. Just because there's not a lot of people that have, calico's kind of dying. There's not a whole lot of it out there,
Yeah.
So I would like to kind of try to preserve that as much as possible. Just because there's just not, there's only a handful of people that still have the bloodline.
Yeah. So what do you say about the calicos that don't really look like calicos?
I still think that the bloodline is they can produce if you breed them with the right thing. Like if you're trying to produce calico and you've got one, you're going to have better luck at reproducing what would be considered a more typical calico if you breed one that is from the bloodline, even though it may not show it, right? It may just look like a green snake or a normal snake, but your odds are going to be way better because the genetics are still there. Okay. So I'm a believer in genetics, like just because Versace.
This is where the lineage charts come in.
I mean, if you look at Versace, he is a green snake. I mean, he's really not. He's kind of ugly. I mean, he is 20-something years old now, and he's kind of, he's got the old man. He's got the old man look going, but he just
he's got the silver eyes.
Yeah, he's got the glaucoma eyes. But he's not a super attractive snake. But I mean, look at what he's produced.
The 05188 was a snake that came from 2 basically green animals.
Yeah, and the original, I don't know if you guys remember the lemon tree. Those were like the high yellow animals when I was getting into it. That was like,
yes, that's my favorite line. Yeah,
the lemon tree.
Snakes.
Yeah, Tim Tremazzi, he was the guy that produced those, and he produced the first ones from breeding 2 green snakes together, and those were amazing. Those are some of the best high yellows ever.
Yeah, it sucks that we don't see that many of them around anymore. I remember seeing them in like the old MVF forum, and then you would see some on Facebook, but they're just kind of
they've died off. Away. Yeah, a lot of the females from that line had fertility issues. Yeah. I know the ones that I had 1 or 2 of them, and I never got anything but slugs from them. And I know a lot of other people have had similar results. Now the males seem to be fine, but if you breed that lemon tree line male even to another high yellow female, I don't know if the genetics line up. You know what I mean?
No, it was something about those females though. I don't know if that was the result of too much inbreeding, not enough outcrossing.
Yeah, but who knows?
It just seemed like now you're gonna make me sad now. Talking about the damn lemon trees.
So Have you noticed anything in particular that seems to be like a genetic issue with a lot of lines, since you've seen so many different lines over the years?
No, not really. You always have the one-off animal that's got some kind of health issue. Um, but I don't recall ever, seeing anything that's specific to one bloodline or another. Any type of bad health issues. Um, Not that I can think of, at least.
Okay. So, with you trying your hand at all these designer projects, um, do you have currently, besides the projects that you've mentioned, do you have a particular, phenotype that you want to go for now?
Well, other than albino, the calicos are my favorite, and calico and the tiger stripe. So I'm real excited about this potential clutch that I've it's due here in about a month, because it'll be calico. It'll be what, calico tiger stripe to calico tiger stripe. So that'll be somewhat line bred. They're sibs. And the male is exceptional. He's very high yellow, really cool look. The female's nice. She's above average, not as crazy as the male. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Phenotypically, how the genetics end up playing out, because tiger stripe and calico really are kind of similar, in that they both are high yellow, a lot of orange. Dave D, I'm sure you guys have seen some of the tiger stripe stuff he posts. Man, it's unbelievable. It's some of my favorite look that's out there.
Tiger stripe gene is another. It's another line that hasn't been. It's kind of just like calico, like you said. It hasn't been worked with a lot, but also very, very few people have that line too.
Yeah,
that's something that you gotta been around for a long time to know something about that.
Yeah. Well, it was one of the last kind of big projects that Rico was working on at the time. When he got sick, he was pushing tiger stripe a lot. He had the initial tiger stripe. Forget if it was a male or female, and he had a bunch of nice animals from it. That's tiger where my stuff came from.
Blue.
Yep.
The new blue project. He was pushing that one too.
Yep.
So I got a question for you, Marcial. So with all the species that you're keeping, how do you keep them all in the same room? And like, what is ambient like, and certain things like that?
They're all kind of sectioned in their own racks. I do have one baby rack that I'm like looking at, like right here next to me, and it's got rough scale sand boa, ball pythons, basins, and Amazon tree boas in it. So, I kind of try to the ball pythons are probably a little bit cooler than you would ideally want them, but they do fine. The Amazon tree boas are probably a little bit warmer than you would ideally want them, but I try to put them lower in the rack, closer to the floor. So they're, a little bit cooler. Other than that, though, the ambient room temperature is like now in the wintertime, it's cold here. It's been pretty cold here for Alabama. It gets down into the close to freezing at night, and maybe gets up to 50 during the day. High temperatures during the day. I have the room on a night drop, so the high temperature during the day this time of year is probably 78, something like that. and then at night it'll drop down to 72, 73, and then all the racks and cages either have some kind of supplemental heat, be it a heat panel or flex watt in the rack. I give everything a hot spot during the day, pretty hot, hotter than a lot of people. High 80s, low 90s, but that's only directly under the heat panel, right? So, if they move 6 inches away from it, they're pretty damn close to ambient room temperature. But I do give them the opportunity to heat up to high 80s, low 90s if they want to, and some of them use it. They don't all use it, but they move around a lot. I think because the ambient temperature can fluctuate so much in here, especially in the summertime. Especially in the wintertime. Summertime it's more consistent. I can get the room up to low 80s during the day and try to keep it high 70s at night. But now in the winter, I've just got this new place. I've been here for coming up a little over 3 years now, and we've lived here for 3 years, coming up on 3 years for moving the snakes in February. It'll be 3 years, but my new room's got a bunch of windows in it, and it's hard. I don't have as precise control of my ambient room temps as I did at my old place, just because of all the glass, all the windows. So it's harder for me to, I can't get this room to 82, 83 when it's 30 degrees outside. Whereas my old room, it was in a basement. It was, underground, had one little small window in it, and I could get that room to 85 no matter what temperature it was outside. But now I'm kind of more subject to what's happening outside. And it's been a little bit of an adjustment, I think, just for my older snakes, just because it's, a little bit different than what they were used to. But I'm going on 3 seasons now, and the benefit, I think, is they've got more of a day-night cycle. Instead of having just the one little window, this whole half this room is glass. So they're a lot more in tune with the day-night as to what's going on outside. So we'll see how it works over the next couple of years. I feel like about now is when the adjustment period should be over, and we'll see how it works out. There's things I could do. I've thought about putting insulation in the windows and making it a little tighter in here temperature wise. But I don't know. It would kind of kill the vibe in here. So I like.
I've seen outside that window sometimes. You got some beautiful ass views.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice working in here. Whereas my other room, there was no windows, and it was just, floor to ceiling racks, and it was tight, and it was, just not a fun place to spend as much time as I spend in here. So
sure, but with us being Green Street people and we like to control everything, how has it been for you personally? Kind of dealing with that. All right, damn, I can't control this ambience as ideally as I like.
I mean, there's nothing I can do, so I just got to roll with it. See, either got to roll with it, or if I go another season, like if I go this season and don't produce any chondros, then I'll probably change something. I'll probably put insulation in the windows, or
you're gonna go old school, put the plastic over the window.
Yeah. Yeah. To try to get it, get it a little more, a little tighter in here. But I don't know. We'll see. So far it's working out keeping my fingers crossed that I get some good eggs from these couple of girls that are gravid. So we'll see.
So are you using the natural light cycle for the light that comes in through the windows, or do you have
Yeah.
supplemental lighting?
Nah, no supplemental lighting. Just strictly what comes in the windows.
Have you always kept them like that?
No, back in the day, I used to put lights in every cage. But that was before the advent of the waterproof LED light. That was when used to have like the under counter, like the 12-inch fluorescent bulb, and the humidity would just get to the light fixtures and burn the ballast up. And it was always like I'd have, one cage that was out, one cage that was fucking like flickering, and
like a horror movie.
yeah. So it is nice having the lights, but I just haven't taken the time to rig up an LED light system in all these cages. It's not something I probably will ever do. Just because I don't know. I mean, if I had all day and nothing else to do, I would do it, but it's more effort than I'm willing to put in right now.
I got work to do, damn it.
That's right.
I mean, you could always hang like a massive light from the ceiling and just put it on the timer.
Well, I mean, I do have all my fluorescent fixtures in here that are in the ceiling are super bright. They're all daylight LED. So when I was kind of building the room, I was talking to my electrician and I was like, all right, what's code in here for, what you would typically use in a like workshop or whatever. And I said, all right, I want double the amount of lights. So the cool thing is, and they're all full spectrum daylight, which is I think 6,500K, something like that. Which is great.
Spectrum.
Yeah, which is great for taking pictures. So I can just pull a snake out, and wherever I am in the room, I've got good light, to take pictures with. So I've got. I mean, I guess I could put the room lights on a timer. I just it's not quite the same thing as having the lights in the cage. You really can see the animals better. Ideally I would have lights in the cages, but like I said, at this point I don't, and I don't, I'm not going to put forth the effort to rig something up, at least not anytime soon. I got maybe if I could sell some of these ball pythons, I'd have some time, but.
So are you the sole keeper of these animals? You got a kid that helps you, or you got like a
yeah,
minion?
my son helps. He helps mainly with the rodents and with the ball pythons.
Are you breeding your own rodents?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, he got a rodent house.
You got a rodent house?
You do, though.
I do, yeah. Yep. So he does kind of I'll say the grunt work, scrubs tubs. scrubs tubs. Dumps water bowls, puts new water bowls in, cleans. He can touch a bunch of animals. He's not into it. He's not scared of them, but he just he'd rather be doing other shit. So he hadn't really expressed a bunch of interest to learn about it. So I do pretty much anything that requires any type of knowledge or skill. And I just have him, I just feed him dirty tubs, and he's in the sink or at the water hose, scrubbing them, cleaning them. And so like when we clean rodents, we've got a system now to where I can clean, all my rodent racks. I can clean the whole room in about 2.5 hours, and it's basically me like sorting them and separating the pregnant females, and all I'm doing with him is he's outside essentially just scrubbing scrubbing tubs.
You want to
And
know
then
something? No, go ahead.
what's that?
No, go ahead.
I was
So
just gonna say, and then inside he does on water bowl changing day. He goes through and he'll go through all the ball pythons, dump the water bowls, put new water bowls in there, and then I got to come back, and I don't let him fill them. I'll fill them so I can come back and check behind him and make sure he didn't miss any turds or whatever, because he's not the best at it's not 100% when he's done. It's probably like 80%. I gotta come behind him, make
Yeah, double
sure
check.
I gotta get the last 20. So
how old is he?
17.
Oh, yeah, that's a good age. But one thing that I was gonna say is it's always odd whenever we talk to people, is that nobody seems to really have kids that seem to care about their parents' massive snake hobby.
Yeah, they just think it's normal.
Yeah.
they all they all seem to be just like, yeah, this is some shit that dad does. It seems like some of them are interested when they're kids, but
Oh
as soon as
yeah.
they hit teenagers, they're just like, we don't care.
Yep. Yeah,
No,
it was the same.
we experienced the same thing at my son's summer camp. Like they'll find out, and they're like, "Yeah, yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, we got snakes."
Yeah, when they were kids, they used to love bringing their friends over and letting their friends, show them off to their friends and letting their friends pet them and hold them and all that, but not anymore.
Yeah, I think that they're probably just
We
interested
didn't
in
grow
just
it up.
growing up.
We didn't grow it up.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, when I was his age, man, I was the nerd, reading snake books and in my room trying to, scheme how I was going to get my dad to buy me an emerald tree boa or whatever. He's all about sports, and he's way more of a jock than I ever was. He's just got different, he's just not into it. It's one of those things where like my dad wasn't in snakes. It's just one of those things that I discovered when I was a kid and
Same.
was like an immediate obsession. And he just doesn't have it. Doesn't want it, doesn't have it, which is fine. Everyone's not a snake guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
You gotta be.
TikTok, man.
You gotta be a little bit
is he
off,
in
Marcial.
TikTok?
What's that?
Is he a TikToker?
He's not. I don't think so. He's not. I mean, I think he probably has a TikTok. He's got Instagram. He doesn't post very much.
He
I
do
think.
the little Uzi Vert dance.
I think they do. I think they do Snapchat. He's in Snapchat. He's in
That's dangerous.
Snapchat generation.
Disappearing messages.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the best way to go. That's the best
That's
way
right.
to do it. Hey, look, Marcial, stay on there. Stay on the disappearance site.
Hey, I tried to tell somebody, I'm just like, man, I don't know if we just didn't care about telling everybody our business, or we just didn't have access to the technology, because we did some bad shit that we didn't have
Oh
footage of
yeah.
when we were kids.
I mean, I did some dumb shit when I was his age. It's harder now. I mean, we can. Uh, I don't know how old y'all's kids are, but once they get a phone, my wife set up forget what it is, Life 360 or something. I mean, I know I can look on my phone. I can know where, at least I know where his phone is all the time. You know, he might have a burner phone that I don't know about, but at least I know where his phone is most of the time.
My 10-year-old,
So,
he about to get that soon. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's harder for him to get
He
away.
can still
It's wet.
catch his headlock though.
Yeah, it's harder to get away with stuff than it was when I was a kid, for sure.
For real.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
We used to leave the house and like not come back until we had to, and whatever we did was just out there unless the cops were involved,
Seven,
or you made a kid. It's either the
17.
cops or you made
Oh,
a kid.
Jesus. 17 was your first linen suit, right?
What's
Me?
that?
I think, yeah, you, Trav. That was when you first got your first linen suit, right?
You think that at 17 years old I was wearing linen pimp suits? Listen, this fucking weird shit that you like to talk about. Listen,
Linen
Marshall.
suit.
Listen, Marshall. Keno has this obsession with the fact that he thinks that I had a former life as a pimp, which is the furthest thing from the truth. That never really happened.
But do pimps wear linen?
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
They do? Okay.
Crushed linen.
Okay.
How do you know that, Travis?
Yeah, shut up. This is not an interview of me.
Ask the question,
You're not interviewing me. This is not what this is about. Listen, Keno has this thing that he thinks because there is one pimp in my family. He thinks that we are all from a family of pimps. There's not two. Well, there is two. There's two. But that doesn't mean we all do this shit. It's not the thing. It's not a family business. We're not in a no, it's not. No, it's not. Don't listen to this, man.
Anyway, let's back to Marshall. Marshall, what made you start crossing the Amazons with the emeralds?
Crossing the Amazons? What do you mean?
You're making the 50-50s.
Rico.
Okay.
Rico was doing it, and
Shut up, Tom.
I bought a few. I still have them. They were produced by him. They're 07, so they're what 20. They're what would that make them, like 16 years old now, something like that.
17 almost.
Yeah, I got a pair of them. So he was doing it, and I've never bred a female basin to anything but a male basin.
But the male basins, you put those to the emeralds.
Yeah, I'll put those to the northerns. I did that for a couple of times and produced some pretty extreme hybrids. You know, like real super high white.
Yeah.
And I don't have those anymore. Somebody really, really wanted them.
It made you offer you couldn't refuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I remember the ones those probably were the ones that they bought because they had some big lightning bolts that I remember.
Yeah, big lightning bolts, big like white splotches. I think I produced maybe 2 or 3 litters of those, and each litter only had like 1, or maybe 1 litter had 2 of the like super crazy ones. You know, most of them were about, I would say, average, and then you'd have some that were, you know, low white.
And those ones, that one that you said that maybe it was like basically one each litter.
Yep.
Are those some that you could see right away, or did those take time?
Oh yeah, you see right away. Yep.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. No, they don't. They're not like basins in the sense that they gain white for the first. You know, basin is gonna be born with, you know, pretty. Depends on the bloodline, but they're gonna gain white as they go through their color change.
Yeah.
Northerns don't do that as much. They may do it to some degree, but basically you can kind of tell which are going to be the best ones from the beginning, and you can tell which basins are going to be the best ones too. But they'll surprise you in that the ones that you look at them and you're like, that one's going to be below average, and then you see it 6 months or a year later, and it's like, oh man, it's not like.
But you never experienced that with any of the 50-50s? You know, like had one that was like 8 months later, you was like, oh, well, shit, I didn't think that one was going to do that.
Nah, you could tell on those pretty much from the beginning. I always liked them. My thing was I like the Northerns. I don't like how a lot of them get kind of they're real crisp white towards the tail, but as you get up closer to the head, they kind of get that gray, kind of smudgy, sooty. That's just not real clean white all the way up the neck. And for whatever reason, the crosses or the hybrids, they don't get that smudginess. They stay super clean white all the way up. That's what I always liked about them.
So the whole project, they bought the whole project from you?
They bought. They didn't buy the adults, but they bought like all the babies that I had at the time.
Oh, wow.
They wanted the adults. I didn't want to sell them, but I didn't want to sell any of them. But they wanted all the babies that I had. So
Marcial, go ahead, Marcial.
So Marcial, you've been doing this for decades. Like, you gonna keep this
up? Yeah, man.
You see, you don't have no gray. Of course he is, man.
No, I got gray.
So you look like
it may not show up, but it's there. Kids, man, damn kids will give it to you.
Oh, don't say that, man. Don't say that. I've been doing good. I ain't seen that one yet.
Yeah, I got some. I've got it all in my face now.
Well, you guys are young. You guys are younger than me, so you got it's coming though.
Travis old though. Travis old.
I am an old man at heart. I'm an old ass man.
You see, you got the holiday heart robe on.
This is not a robe. This is one of my hunting jackets. It's just shut up, Keno.
All right, well, before
first of all, bro, like, what type of pimp dresses like this, bro? Gotta cut this shit out.
You dress down for the show, dog. We're not stupid. Marcial, there's been a few times where he's been caught red-handed. He's came up in here with his hair nice, his hair up. He came up in here with a collared shirt on, and it was buttoned all the way up to the top. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you must didn't change." The normal him comes in with the white beater on. He come in with the white beater. He like, "Yeah, I got to put a shirt on before the show starts." But this time he came up in here with a button up. He was clean shaven. He was clocking math that day for sure.
Yo, why can't I walk around my house and no? It wasn't a linen.
It was a linen shirt. It was a linen shirt. It was a linen shirt.
Why can't I walk around my house in a wife beater? Like, why? Why is that suspicious?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Why is that suspicious to you?
No comment. It's 2024.
I get this all day, Marcial. It's not.
That's good. It's good to have good banner, right?
It's not banter.
It's like somebody laughing at you almost dying. It's the same thing.
Hey, man. I don't know, man. On your actual death day, bro. I hope we not on the phone, bro.
You gonna show up and laugh at the funeral. Everybody gonna be like, "What the fuck is this dude doing?" My mama gonna be there crying, and you gonna be still laughing at it.
Yo, I might have it on voice recording. When I give you a eulogy, I'm gonna play it.
What, laughing?
No, I'm gonna play the little noises you made right before you died.
I hope Khalil tackle your ass while you up there talking. I hope Khalil and Cash can tackle your ass.
It'll be well worth it. All right, Marcial.
Hold on, Marcial. Marcial, what made you get out in front of the whole ultra male thing? Because you was
Oh.
like way years before that.
Man,
I
it's
was talking
always
about
just
this.
been my favorite.
I was talking about this to somebody about a week ago. How like you was way ahead of that. So give us a
Yeah,
little history
no,
lesson on that.
it's really just they say work with what you like, and it's always been it's always been my favorite morph. Every first time I saw it, I think I first saw him at Daytona in maybe like oh oh 05, 06, something like that. The very first ones, and they weren't really, at the time I wasn't really working with ball pythons. And then I think it was 2010 or 11. I was like, all right, well, I've done okay with the chondros, and ball pythons seem to be on the up. So I'm going to invest some money, and I bought like 1.4 of them in 2011 or 2010.
Okay.
And yeah, man, that was it. Just got in on it early. With the ball pythons, it's weird, man. Like you gotta, it's easy. There's so many morphs and so many different projects you can do. It's easy to get scattered out,
Yeah, get
and
caught
have
up,
just
have a whole bunch of shit, random shit everywhere.
a
Yep.
whole bunch of random shit, and then you don't ever produce anything because it's all statistics, right? Just like we were
Yep.
talking about the albino chondro, you got to have numbers to really advance your game. And I've just stuck with it. I did a couple of double recessives pretty early before that was really a common thing. Now everything's double recessive.
Yep.
That's the way things are going, is the multi recessives. And as soon as I had my male was the male that I bought was able to breed. I bred him to clown female, hypo female, and made double hets. So a lot of it's probably just luck, kind of right place, right time, and just liking something that at the time, I guess, I don't know if it was a cost thing and they were too expensive, or it seems like in the last couple of years that particular gene has gained in popularity, to where back when I got into them, for whatever reason, there just wasn't a ton of people working with it. And that's it, man. Basically just, stuck with it, and, focused on really what I like. And
I
that's,
respect that.
yeah, I mean, that's the deal. Yeah, that's
Marshall,
the deal.
I think you got a lot of years left in this, Marshall, because you do what you like, baby. You're
Oh
not
yeah, I love
chasing
it,
a
man.
bag.
I'll be doing it as long as I can walk and you know get around. I'll be doing this shit for forever. Uh, it's part of it's part of me. Has been since I was like I said, young kid, and it's one of those things where if it's in your blood, it's in your blood, man. Like I can't imagine as much as some days it sucks, and it's like, especially if I have a shitty day at work, and you know it's like, man, the last thing I feel like doing is coming down here and feeding 200 ball pythons tonight. But you got to do it. As much as I have those days sometimes. I really don't know what I would do with myself if I
If you didn't
suddenly
have them
snap.
200 animals just
Yeah,
defeated,
if I snapped my fingers and these snakes were all gone, and I had money in the bank for them, or whatever. If I decided to get out and sell them, like I literally, I don't know what I'd do with myself.
You be
you,
looking
you
around the room like
I'd
dog
be
just
getting
Fresh Prince.
lost.
I'd be getting in trouble is what would happen, because board marshal things that's not good. I got to stay busy. I got to keep myself occupied. If I'm bored, or if I got don't have something productive to do. You know, not great things happen.
He
So
said, "Boy, Marcial is a dangerous man, huh?"
that's right.
See,
So
and
do
then he's
you?
gonna turn into a serial killer.
That's not true. Don't listen. Don't listen to this man about serial killers either. Don't listen to him. Nothing he says about serial killers. So, 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 Marshall, do you
I
work in
was
like
just
an
playing,
office
Marshall.
or something all day?
I work in the construction industry.
Okay.
So yes, I do work in an office. Um, I'm on the business side of a commercial construction company.
No,
Okay.
you definitely got to go home and be able to play with the pets then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a high stress, high pressure, high stress, all that stuff. Um,
He
so
said,
this is
a Memphis pimp. Lost a honey jacket.
so,
I hate
so
y'all.
this is a nice it's a nice escape. Come down here, put on some tunes, and kind of zone out.
Yeah, yeah.
Take your mind off work. Relax. Don't watch a bunch of TV. Like I said, man, I got to keep. I got to be doing something productive. Sitting around watching TV. That's just not. I can't. I'm terrible at relaxing. Um, I got to be.
That's not good, Marsh. You got to relax a little bit sometimes.
I mean, a little
You
bit,
got to get off the
but
feet a little bit. You know,
it's like
let the dogs
going to the
rest.
going to the beach or going, it's like to a cabin somewhere. It's like that's not for me, man. Like I can't. I sit on the beach. Only so many Miller Lights I can drink in a day, and then it's like, all right, I got shit to do. Like I can't be just sitting around on the beach. Like I got shit I need to be doing. So I'm like I said, I'm a terrible relaxer. I got to keep busy.
We gotta get Marshall some relaxation in life.
I mean, that's what he likes doing. I mean, I feel you, Marshall. Like you don't want to you don't want to sit around when you got time off.
That's right. I
I feel
like to
you.
stay productive. Doing
Yeah,
something productive.
yeah, I get that because for me, like with the snakes, when I get off work, like it's almost an escape because I get tired of sitting at my desk all day at work. I got a new desk that I can like raise up and stand up, but
Oh,
it's
there you
still
go. Stand up desk.
yeah. But I still get tired of being at a desk all day. Honestly, when I was in the army, I think the army ruined my life so much that I didn't that I just wanted to go to sleep when I got off work. So like now, like nobody's ruining my life all day. So I need the snakes to escape.
There you go.
But you got anything that you want to mention before you get out of here?
Man, I don't think so. It's been a lot of fun, man. My y'all have had my non-snake friends. Like they all follow my Instagram, but they don't ever like anything or they don't ever comment on anything because they don't want snakes showing up in their feed, like on their so
They sound
but
like my
man,
family.
My family too.
they have been the videos have been awesome.
You got
Have been
unused
awesome.
videos, Marshall. I'll send you those.
The last couple ones, I feel like they gotten you came out swinging good with the ladies man one, and then after that one they just keep going up better and better.
Cause look,
listen, listen. I think I said
because we really like to have fun when we do y'all with these videos. We
yeah.
try to make it unique in this. The videos they have a life of their own.
The one I think it was yesterday, the one where it's the R Kelly one. uh
Oh,
I
the
I
believe
didn't
I can fly
I
one.
believe I can fly. Yeah, I didn't even
oh
notice, but it's like you and was that Ariana Grande in the
yeah
like the little second scene, and then I
yeah
go by in the background. That shit's funny, man.
yeah. Just me paying a prostitute. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
props for that. That was awesome. Everybody got some good. I got some good laughs out of it. Everybody got some good laughs out of it. So
Yeah. Like we keep telling people, you should see the ones that like we make, and they were just like, we're not putting this up.
These are the PG. These are the PG ones y'all see.
Yeah. Yeah. I like putting Nancy Pelosi's face in videos. I think it's funny. Hillary Clinton's face too. I think it's funny. Somebody told me in a comment in a DM message that is disrespectful. I didn't even answer reply. I
oh
was just
man,
like,
that's a ignore, delete.
yeah, I didn't answer
Exactly.
it. I mean,
People don't like to have fun, man. Chondro Bar Room is you gonna come here, you gonna laugh. If you see an ad for the show, you probably gonna be like, these idiots. Those are some dumb shit. That's probably what you're gonna see.
Yeah. So when we used to do the show, it used to get derailed a lot because we wouldn't really talk about snakes after like 30 minutes. We would just talk about a bunch of nonsense. Like some shows, like we only like did like half of the show based on snakes. The rest of it just went completely.
Like
It was bad. But those videos, yeah, Rain is the only one that's saved. But like the rest of them, like they weren't saved, so we were kind of safe. But like now, we actually got to like stay on task, and we don't really want to be sitting up here talking to you about pimps and just random shit all the time.
Well,
nobody wants to talk about that, Keno.
I mean, if you want to give us a doctrine, then go ahead.
There is no doctrine, Keno. It's not a real thing. It's not a thing. It's just something that you turned into a thing. Like most of your rants that I talk to you about, or you just come up with some fake numbers and statistics. How about Saturday morning, Keno? The spectrum conversation. Yeah. Yeah, Keno. Yeah, Keno. He's just listen. This is ridiculous. But anyway, Marshall.
Is there any evidence of this?
Yeah. I got a witness. I got Bill. We're going to have bar court. Oh, that's what we were supposed to do, Marshall. We were supposed to have bar court for some comments that Keno left, some salacious comments that he left on lingerie-clad midgets. But we didn't have it. we didn't have
it. Was hacked. Marcial was hacked.
He was not hacked. He was acting of his own volition. And
I was hacked.
He was digitally courting
Marcial,
midgets in comment sections.
Marcial, you gotta watch out for the links that you click on, man, because somebody click on the link. They'll send you a link on your Instagram. You click on it, and then it's just next thing you know, you locked out your account for like 2, 3, 4, 8 days at a time, man. You gotta be careful.
Marshall, thank God you are like out of the age where you can get thirst trapped on Instagram. Like Keno's like a rabbit. You can trap him anytime. If you got a midget and she's half naked.
Marshall, I told this man that I wanted to have one time before on my bucket list. I wanted to have some midget adult dancers, and he's taking this to the extreme.
Okay,
no. That's all. I said I wanted to see that one time.
I mean, shit, Chicago. There's got to be a guy in Chicago to get that.
Here's the thing. So my girl,
you don't know those Chicago pimps with midgets.
So look, Marshall,
and linen. They probably wear linen too.
Look, Marshall, my lady has offered to do this for like 4 years in a row at Super Bowl parties, but me, I'm smart. I said no.
It's a trap. He's a rabbit.
Yeah, you don't want to let your lady do it for you.
Yeah, you're not gonna see me acting a fool. Nah. I'm not gonna set myself up for that. I'm smart.
It's a trap. It's a trap, and I'd love to see you get caught up in that trap.
I'm smart in that. I said no.
Yeah. Just let her bring the midget to the house. Yeah, you're not saying no. Just get out of here with that. But Marshall, we'd love to have you back again if you want to come.
Yeah, man, this was fun.
Yeah,
right, for real.
This is fun.
We want to give more into your breeding, what you do, how you your ladies and all that. The chondro ladies, not your real ladies.
What do you say? You say that Marshall has a harem as well?
I didn't say that. I did not call Marcial a pimp.
Listen. This is the last
That's a
episode where
hard-working man in the construction field. I did not say
this
that. Now,
is
you on
this
the
is
other
the
hand,
last episode where the word pimp will be tolerated on air.
they called you
This is
Don Magic Wine.
I don't care. I don't care, y'all. This is
They
what y'all
said,
gonna
"What
keep
is
doing.
your pimp oath every morning?"
What do you think?
The
You think I have?
comments,
You think
the
I have
comments said
pimp
this.
morning affirmations? I stare in the
Yes,
mirror.
pimp
No, that's not true.
affirmations.
That's ridiculous. Who does that?
Pimp.
Anyway, Marshall, I would like to bring you back probably in the summertime if you want to. I got a
Sure.
perfect show for you to come on.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Love to.
But whatever you gotta say, if you want to give some shout outs before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Man, I shout out my wife, Laura. She's the one that makes everything all this possible, Um I got
Shout
enough
out to you,
mental capacity.
Miss Mendez.
I got enough mental capacity to handle work and snakes, and she pretty much makes sure everything else gets handled. So without her, definitely couldn't do it. Not at this level, at least, in this size of an operation. And
That's real.
so her
And your
and
son.
yeah, I was gonna say I should shout out Maddox. Shout out Maddox, my son. He's been a big help. He's 17, so I've got about another year and a half of him before he goes off to wherever he's going to go, school, and have to find somebody to replace him. So, you know, but
You got
yeah,
to get a minion. It seems
that's
to be the
right.
thing now. Bill
You
has
know,
alum.
yeah, I had somebody before him, and it just takes a special kind of person to want to come and clean the rat house.
Clean that rat shit all day.
Yeah.
Sit rat shit all day.
With a
people
scraper.
people are all gung ho about it, and then they get in here for a couple times. They're like, yeah, I don't know if this is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary. So do they? You
Yeah.
think is it the sound of the rats that makes them nervous,
No,
or is the
it's
actual just cleaning?
it's the smell, man. The smell is the fucking worst. Oh,
Okay.
so terrible, so terrible.
Is it just rats or you got mice too?
I got mice too. They're all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's if I didn't have the ball pythons, I wouldn't have to do it, but it's pretty much a necessity. If you're gonna breed ball pythons, you got to have, you don't want to be reliant or beholden to the rat lady, because when I
Yeah.
first was getting started, I had a lady that I would buy all my live rats from, and I'd be trying to meet her, like she couldn't meet on the weekend. She wanted to do it during the week, and I'm like, she we'd she's try to schedule a time. All right, I'm gonna meet you at noon. Well, she'd call me at 11:55, and like, I'm running an hour or so late, and I was like, well, shit, I got a meeting in an hour, but I need these rats too. So it was just a pain in the ass. You can't do it, and unless you have an extremely reliable source, and I hadn't been able to find that around here. So if it wasn't for the ball pythons, that before them, everything was frozen thawed. If you just do chondros, you don't need to breed rodents. But if you have anything that requires live food, um, it's tough if you're dependent on somebody else for it. So plus
Yeah.
it's expensive too. I mean, it's real expensive. Versus doing it yourself. Which, I mean, if I had a steady source, I'd gladly pay, because it sucks, but it's just kind of a necessary evil.
Yeah, I always thought about having a rat shed at some point in time. I was like, I'm not taking care of that.
It's not worth it. I mean, unless you got stuff that requires live food, it's I just buy it. Buy frozen thawed.
That's what I do. Well, Marshall, we know you got to get out of here, but we appreciate you coming on and hanging out with
Yeah.
us. This has been fun.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Thank you, Marshall.
Yes,
It's
sir.
been a pleasure talking to you tonight.
And thank you
Likewise.
for the information that you gave us. A lot of the information, about genetics and things like that, like, everybody has a different take on it, but like some of the information you gave out tonight is going to be really impactful to some people.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah, and I think you was able to break some things down that I hadn't heard you break down before. I'm sure you've been a lead guest.
Well, good. Just I try not to. I try not to take it too seriously. I'm not a scientist by any stretch or any no professional training. I'm basically just a guy breeding snakes in his basement. But I've been doing it for a while, so take everything I said with a grain of salt.
Nah, because Marshall been around since the MVF days, so you better put some respect on his name.
He was around before that.
We're gonna take it with a grain of salt now. You're gonna put some more respect on your name than that, man. Come on, Marshall.
Well, that has been us for the Chondro Bar Room. We appreciate you again, Marshall. Salad Man, the child that cuts my lawn, does not have special needs issues. So just stop.
Oh, so that's the guy. That's the
Shut
guy
up.
that you was screaming at. You was like, man, I keep telling him to come over. He won't do the job right.
He's just a kid, bro. Listen, that's been us for the Chondro Bar Room.
That you was just picking on this little boy.
Thank you to everybody that showed up.
Wow.
Y'all
You're a terrible person, man. Next week, y'all.
All right, fellas. This has been awesome.
All right, Rob.